Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Intimate Conversations. I am your host, Christina Armstrong, and I have my co host. I'll let her introduce herself.
Julia Wilson.
Hey, girl. All right. So, we just want to be very upfront. We are winging this. We have no idea what or how this is going to look, but we are being obedient. And we're gonna rock with it. So this first episode, we just wanted to allow you guys into who we are. Um, yeah, so we're gonna jump off like that. Okay, so who is Julia Wilson?
Oh, we're gonna start with me.
Yeah.
Cool. So, who's Julia Wilson? Pretty much, I am a wife. I am a mother of three. I am a minister. I'm a writer. I'm a woman, and
Gotta
pretty
clarify
much
these things.
just just like overcome my own set of challenges as we all have, and just here to share my stories, my testimonies, my insight with the other women that could take away from it.
Okay.
Who is Christina?
Um, Christina is I am a woman who is discovering who Christina is. I'm on a self-discovery phase. So I can give you the things that I do, but I am discovering who Christina is. And Christina is funny. She dope. She is she is someone who is learning to love correction. She
Mhm.
is a believer who is learning that this faith walk ain't for no punks. Like she
Hello.
so I am on a self-discovery phase of who Christina is, but overall I would say I am I think that's it. I think I'm a woman who is discovering who she is.
I like that. Can I change my answer? I want to
Nothing
change
that
my
is
answer
so.
because I feel like it's very similar. One thing I'm gonna say though that I have posted on a TikTok is that I used to be an introvert, and I am someone who is learning that I'm not an introvert, which
Okay.
is really big to me because my whole life I've been like calling myself an introvert when really it's just like the way that I had allowed life to kind of like mold me.
Mhm.
And now I'm like coming out of that and really learning who the real Julia is. So
Okay.
I'm gonna steal your answer. I'm learning who
Okay.
Julia is, and I'm not an introvert, and that's crazy. And I'm trying to push past like all that like thinking that made me feel the way I felt about myself. So I'm still in Christina's answer.
That's okay. It ain't trademarked yet. You can use it.
That's it. So I have a question. So basically, I met Christina at Charis Bible
Mhm.
College. If you don't know what that is, um, and that's where we met at. But we never talked about our journey, like what
I
led you
don't
to
think we ever really spoke, and not because we didn't like. We just you were a year ahead of me, so we
get
just.
super quiet. Like you don't talk to me, I'm not talking to you. So
I feel you. Yep.
truth.
I love it. I love it. Oh,
How did you get there?
oh, girl, that was delayed obedience.
With me too. With me too. Like 2 years.
That was. I don't know if it was 2 years. I don't even know how I found um Andrew. I think I found him through Kenneth Copeland and Jesse Duplantis, Uncle Jesse. And I was listening to him, and it's crazy because I didn't know anybody else had a Bible college. I only knew of Charis through Andrew Wellmake Ministries.
Mhm.
And the Holy Spirit said, go to Charis. And I said, I could watch this man for free on
Right.
YouTube. That was I was like, why would I go when I have everything on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
And I compromised with the Lord. I was like, I won't go to Charis Bible College. I'll go to a Charis Bible study. Same
Right.
thing. It's fine. I went one day. I almost died getting there. Literally, almost got hit by a Mack truck getting there. We get there. We have one Bible study, and the lady. I don't know if you've ever dealt with somebody like they're looking at you, but you know that God is talking to them about you.
Yes.
Oh, so annoying. So I'm sitting there and she just kept looking at me and she said, baby, you supposed to be in Charis. And I said, ma'am, no disrespect, but mind your business. I did not want to hear. I was like, mind all your business. I don't keep that word for yourself. I don't want it. I don't want to hear it. And finally, she canceled all of her Bible studies after that. So I was like, all right, fine. So I signed up and I went, and I started the year that Miss Debbie started doing the school. So that's how I got there.
I
How
think there
did
was
you get there?
I think I think there was something about Miss Debbie. Like, even though it was delayed, I think it was meant to be there when she was there. Like, I think that's kind of what happened to me. But when I first started listening to Andrew, I had just had my son and was kind of depressed, if I'm being honest, because I wasn't necessarily like, it wasn't one of those pregnancies that like you plan for.
Yeah.
And at the moment it just didn't fit. So my life was kind of just like, okay, Lord, so what am I doing now? And my friend introduced me to Andrew, and she was like, you've got to listen to this guy. It was that teaching, You've Already Got It. She was like, yeah, that was the first one I ever heard. She was like, you got to listen to this guy. And I was like, she was always talking about him. I'm like, okay. So I listened to the teaching, and my mom was like,
yeah.
Like, it blew my religion. Like,
oh yeah, it'll disrupt some things.
Have I ever been to church? Like, what was even happening? So I listened to him, and I knew I was supposed to go to Charis. I had even went to a Charis orientation and was in there like, yeah, I'm supposed to go. Didn't go. It was like years, 3, 4, 5 years.
Oh, you had delayed obedience.
It's probably, no, it's longer than that. I'm lying, because my oldest son is 11 and I just graduated last year. So it's like 9 years of delay.
Thank God for grace.
Right. But with that being said, I ended up going. I actually contacted Debbie. I had listened to a teaching that was like, just do it, just have faith. Like, so I had no money, no nothing. I just called. I was like, hey, I know I'm supposed to be at Charis. Mind you, I think the semester started like the next week. And somehow I was able to get into the semester. Somehow I was able to get money. Somehow someone was always watching my daughter. I was getting to class. Like, classes got paid for. It was literally the grace of God. But I graduated. Woo woo. We graduated. Here we are.
You graduated. I still got one more year.
Well, you got to graduate. Woo woo.
I got one more year. I'm trucking. Woo. One more year. Well, no, I think it's been. Would you say it's life-changing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I learned so much stuff at Charis. It's bittersweet, like, because the atmosphere is so awesome that when you're outside of the atmosphere and you get into other atmospheres, it's like, bro, what is this?
Yeah. It's ghetto out here.
Yeah. Like,
I call it the Charis bubble.
It is a Charis bubble for sure. But it created like a solid foundation and great relationships. Like, anytime I see Debbie and Jim, I'd be thinking of Jim like my big, like, I just love to see them. So yeah, it was awesome. I love the experience.
Yeah.
It was worth it. It was worth every penny. It was better than the free.
Than the online.
Yeah. It was the online.
I said, Lord, you know what you're doing, because even with me going to school, and I can be very stubborn. So with me being there, every time I leave class, I'm like, I see why you sent me here. The relationships itself, like, I would have never connected with these people had I not been here. So that's been really.
And I'm somebody who hates school. Like, I literally college. Like, don't send your child to me like, oh, talk to Auntie Julia about school. Don't do it. I'm gonna be like, I don't understand why it's necessary. Go watch YouTube. Go get a book. Like, I don't like college, and that.
You muted.
Hello?
There we go.
Boom. Okay, my husband was calling me. Sorry, y'all. But that was the first time I had ever been excited about, like, I could not wait to go to school on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And I was leaving school in the car with my best friend, like, so today we learn boom, boom, boom. And it was the first time I was that excited about being educated about something, which kind of made me feel like maybe this is my calling, because I ain't never really cared too much about nothing else. So
Yeah, it's definitely. If you have not heard of Karis, if you have not heard of Andrew Wellmake Ministries, we highly, 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 highly recommend them because it is literally life changing.
And don't be thrown off. I know the culture. Let me say this. I'm gonna say the culture. I know what we used to when it comes to these preachers. And I understand that, Andrew gonna be chill. If you see him online, he gonna be sitting down. It's not gonna be a lot of heavy breathing.
Yep.
He's gonna be very one tone, but the truth is the truth. Like that part is there.
It's fruit that comes from his words. I will tell you, when I got to Karis, I was very shocked to see as many of us as I did.
Yes.
I was like, well, wait a minute.
Yes. But
I was very shocked.
This is the thing, which I feel like is what's gonna make this podcast dope, is because it's like the truth is the truth is the truth. Mm-hmm. Like at the end of the day, I don't care if you're from the country, you from the city, you black, white, Indian, purple. The truth is the truth, and the truth is what sets you free. So no matter like who it's coming from, like there's something that's on the inside of you that resonates when you hear somebody telling the truth, and that's what we're all drawn to.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what this My Truth movement is, but it's definitely from the pits of hell. So when you sit and you get biblical truth and biblical foundation, and I love Andrew because he takes you to the word and you look at it and you read it, and then you see the fruit that's been produced, and it's like, well, let me try this. Let me see if it really worked. And for Karis, I think the way they structured it is very, very smart. Definitely had to be a God thing, where your first year at Karis is literally erasing the whiteboard, debunking your religion, getting rid of the lies, and taking you to the word, which should be the foundation for
anything.
Yeah.
It's not.
We live in a fallen world. Yes. All right. So I have a question. It's gonna be a little personal, but I think we're open here. Okay. So tell me a struggle that you recently overcome.
Let's talk about today.
Okay.
So I am in a stretching period, season, which I've been in for probably like tough for 2 years. Just like constant stretching. Capacity is the word for the season. So today, so outside of being a minister, as I already mentioned, I ghostwrite. So I have clients and I write their books for them. And I had a gentleman who I'm writing a book for, who I've never really wrote this type of book for. I've written fiction, nonfiction, different kind of books. This specific guy who we talked about the day we met at the for breakfast.
I want you to know I ordered it.
This book is historical, but there's parts of it that are made up. So it has to be very descriptive, but it also has to follow a real historical timeline. It also has real characters, although parts of the book are not real. Okay. And the guy in whom I am working with himself is a historian, like literally has went to school for history. Me, I fell asleep in history. Me, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I've got this thick book that I've got to like read over and know the history of these people and the general history of African Americans, and just I have to know all this stuff, right? So I'm doing the chapter. I'm learning to like trust God, to lean on God with my gifting, to trust that I can hear him, that he's with me, be vulnerable with him. So I'm doing the very first chapter after I've done this research and all this stuff, right? And nervously sent him the chapter, and he tears it like, he tears this chapter up like I can't even express. We're doing it like he's talking to me through voice notes and WhatsApp. Like when you hold the mic down, you leave in a voice note. There's voice note after voice note after voice note. The format, the tone, the dates, the chronological order, the descriptions. It needs to be more detailed. I'm just like, oh, so I suck. Okay.
So you immediately took it personal.
I immediately took it personal because I've never had that happen before. Like anytime I write for somebody, it's all like literally for 6 years, the
Mm-hmm.
response is, "Oh, you're so gifted. Oh, how did you get that from what I said? This is awesome." And so for the first time for somebody to not, this is not what he said, and I know that this is not what he meant, but all I heard was, "You're trash."
Mm.
And I was
Yeah.
just like, do I even know how to write? So I
Mm-hmm.
have been writing, you know. So I kind of have been learning to be vulnerable. So I was just vulnerable with God. I was like, Lord, I don't even feel like I know how to write no more. Like I don't feel like I'm equipped to do this. I
Yeah.
feel like I know what I'm doing. I'm outside of my comfort zone. So I literally just walked away, got on my knees in the closet, gave him all of this, took a deep breath, prayed, sat back down. And what the Lord said to me was, I'm training you to write at a higher level,
Mm.
because I know that he's taking me somewhere with my writing, and that in order for me to exist in that place, I'm going to have to come higher in my level of skill, the way
Yeah.
that I write, the way that I think, just anybody that has to do anything at a higher level. So he was basically saying, just submit to the process. Like basically what this guy is doing is training you. He's paying you and training you how to write at a higher level and paying you to do it where they do that at.
Yeah.
So I really just had to submit to, number one, just trusting God. Like, Lord, you got me out here acting like a fool. Like I knew it was a divine, and you got me looking real slow right now.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting that, like, no, this is God wanting to use this as like a training moment and to bring me up to a higher skill level in my gifting. But
Mm-hmm.
that can only be done, back to my always message, if I submit to the process
Yeah.
and embrace the process. If I take the constructive criticism, if I pray over it and, you know, allow God to help me through the process, is the only way it can happen. But I was overwhelmed. I'm like, Lord, I'm overwhelmed. This man just didn't call me trash. This man didn't call me trash. Nowhere in these messages. But if you ask me, this man called me trash. So
Yep. I think that's because we identify so much with what we do that when
yes,
somebody critiques what we do, it's like, oh, oh, that was disrespectful.
you coming
And it's
at
like, no,
me.
no, no. It's like
Right.
we are separate. And I think I have to learn that too in doing things. It's people will feel a type of way about my message. They'll feel a type of way about my brand and da, 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 da. And it's like one of my coaches is like, you are two different, like that's not you. This is you, and this is what you do. They critiqued what you
Yes.
did, not who you
Yes.
are. And I was like, it still suck, Lord. It sounds like
Right.
they coming for me.
It still hurts. I still don't like it.
Yeah, like Lord, I, this no, totally
I
get it.
got through it. It also showed me I'm growing, because back in the
Right.
day, let me tell you, meet Julia Wilson a year ago. Julia Wilson a year ago would have called him and been like, I'm not the person.
Mm,
I think that I overreached. I think that I thought that I could do this, but I can't do it. And you need to find somebody else. I'm sorry that I wasted your time. I'm sorry that you'll have to find you somewhere else. I'll even help you find someone else, but it ain't going to be me.
oh wow.
That was Julia a year ago.
Mm,
So, like, just the fact that I was able to just like suck that up
yeah,
and see the God in it and
yeah.
like surrender to it, I was like, oh, I'm changing for real. Okay.
That's dope. That's dope. Isn't it nice when you get to see the growth and it's
When
like
you, yes.
because I'm like you, the word process is a cuss word to me. The word process, the word time, and the word patience. All those you can put them in a blender, blend it up and throw it out. Like
And
those
you
words.
know what? I'm over Refiner's Fire. I'm like,
Oh,
I don't want to hear a
I
song.
don't
I just
even sing
song.
that song. I listened to the words and I said, I don't want to be put through that. No.
Listen to it no more. I'm like, I didn't been in this Refiner's Fire so long. I
No.
don't know. Lord, rain your fire. No, I'm leaving the church. Y'all start talking about fire. I'm leaving. I don't want to hear about it. Period. I don't.
Exactly. When I think for me, when God told me that time was a gift, that he was like, I gave you a gift and you're not utilizing it as a gift. Time is a gift for you to process and prepare for what I've given you and what I called you to do, because it's gonna happen. But how long it takes depends on how long you prepare, how long you process. So you're gonna either sit here, be stubborn, have an attitude, or you're gonna use this time to build your faith to receive what I said you could have. You're gonna build your faith to do this and do that. And it just was like, gosh. Okay.
But look, it don't that is doesn't that blow you? Like the thing, like when you really realize, because we always say like, "Oh, I'm waiting on God.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on God," and it's like when it really hits you, like you're really the one that's controlling the time.
Yes. Yeah.
It hits you a completely different way. Like
You get motivated after that.
you keep waiting on God, you're gonna be 100. Like
Oh, that's why when
it's
people go, I'm
you.
in my prayer closet. I gotta pray about it. I'm waiting on God. Now there are some things that you need to pray about and seek God's wisdom on,
Yeah,
but it's some stuff that's just go, baby, move.
just do it. Or God's already told you what to do, like the
Mhm.
initial step, but you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting for the full picture. Like,
Oh
sis,
yeah,
it's not coming.
oh yeah.
Coming.
Guilty. Guilty.
Yeah,
I want to see because
double
I
guilty.
lie and say stability because I come from a traumatic, I have some traumatic things that I've come through. For me, stability is very important. And so
Hmm.
when I don't know the plan, I look at that as not having stability. And God's like, no, I need you to trust me. And
Yeah.
if you're struggling with that, then I need you to realize that you need a deeper revelation on how much I love you, love
Mm,
I have for you, because I ain't gonna let you sink. I ain't gonna let you, like, I got you. And I think for me, I condition myself to believe that I have to know the whole plan. How am I supposed to do it if I don't know the plan? Which goes back to it's not me doing it. Like I
right.
just need to be obedient. So yeah.
I'm the I need 1,000 confirmations. I'm Gideon. Make the
Oh
fleece dry. Make the I'm Gideon because like I had spent
girl.
so much life
Yeah.
making bad choices and mistakes that I'm like, Lord, is that you? Are you
Yep.
sure it's you? Make it rain. Dry up the rain.
Let the
Make the
rain
sun
car pass
go away.
by.
Yeah, like I need 1,000 confirmations. It's like
Yep.
he'll give me a confirmation that's clear as day, and then a day later, I'm like, I know you did. Can you confirm it again? Like
Uh-huh.
I double, triple check. Like that be me because I made so many mistakes. I'm
Mhm.
just like, I want to be sure that I'm sure that I'm sure. And
Yep.
God's getting me to the point where He's like, daughter, know that you can hear me.
Yeah.
And when you think that you've heard, even when you think you've heard from me, just move in obedience because the more that you do according to what you heard, you'll fine tune the voice.
Yeah.
So if you think you heard from him, you step out, you say something or whatever, and it's wrong. You're like, oh, that wasn't God, that was me. Like the more you do that, it's like you fine tuning. Like you remember when you got them old school radios and you got to like
Mhm.
move the dial.
Move it just uh-huh.
I know y'all may not be old enough for that, but it's like doing that. Like after stepping out so many times and you realize the difference between your voice and his voice and what's him, like you'll be able to hear clearly. So that's like the phase I'm in now, where I'm like fine tuning that voice.
Gotcha.
Mm-mm-mm. I want to know about sold out, singled out, not sold. Well, we are sold out for the Lord, but I want to know about singled out.
Oh
What made
man.
what is singled out, and then what made you want to do singled out?
Singled out. See, it was obedience.
Okay.
Obedience. So I never in a million years saw myself doing or having a singles ministry. But I think since going through some things, God has really begun to, and like you said, getting to that submission point. So, Singled Out C is a singles ministry where I educate, equip, and empower single women on how to build a biblical platform for their single season. And the thing, I can't believe I'm so passionate about this thing because 4 years ago, being single was ugh.
Right.
Like that was not the thing to do. And so I basically Singled Out C came from a promise that God gave me. He gave me a promise and I'm still walking that promise out, but because I misinterpreted that promise, I had these false expectations. I was just moving at the speed of light. I was
Mhm.
doing things, and essentially, I was working really hard to get a husband. And I thank God for grace because I had three men that I was like boom boom, like if it wasn't for grace, if it
Mhm.
wasn't for that the Holy Spirit, like that something ain't right, that I probably would have been married and divorced three times already.
Ooh,
So yeah,
I-
it was really a journey. And I broke up with Jesus. I was like, you lied. I don't like it. I'm not doing this. This is fake. I mean, I think I was at that point where I was saved for heaven. I knew if anything had happened to me, I was going to heaven because I did believe that Jesus was, the Son of God. But as far as having my life, I trusted you in this area and it looks like you failed me. So I'm not doing it again. So I went back home to Virginia, and Virginia is like my Sodom and Gomorrah. Like that is the place I should not be.
No.
But I went back, and anything that was a sin, I looked up, and I tried so hard to break God's heart. And it was crazy because in the midst of trying to break God's heart is when I felt his love the most. And as
Wow.
I'm sitting there and I'm doing stuff I ain't got no business doing, I couldn't even enjoy myself because the presence of the Lord was just so strong to the point where I was like, could you leave? Like,
Right.
how crazy is that to ask the Holy Spirit to leave so you can sin? Thank the Lord
Right.
for the grace. But I was at that point where I was like, I'm done. And because I was at the darkest place in my life and I felt his love the most there, like the strongest I've ever felt it, I was like, I can't run. I can't run. So what do you want? What do you want? Because clearly you're not going to leave me alone.
Right.
You don't know what breakup mean. Like, so let's
Right.
what do you want?
The boundaries.
Yeah, you do not respect them. And thank God he didn't. And so because of that, Singled Out Seed was birthed. And it was like, the promise I gave you still stands, but you're not in the position to receive it. Because if I give you the promise, you're going to destroy it. And that can't happen. So
Right.
it really, I went through a season of therapy through self-discovery that I'm still on. I call this season of my life is called Winging It, but it's also called Becoming, because I'm walking through and becoming who God has called me to be. I don't quite know what that looks like all the way. But I do know, and I think you and I have this in common. Like, I'm called to, there's 7 mountains of influence. I'm called to the mountain of the family. And God has me dealing with the singles, because that's the foundation of a good family. Is if you don't multiply and plant good seeds in your single season, you're going to be building on some rocky ground.
And nobody talks about that.
Yeah. So that is what Singled Out Seed is. That is what it's blowing my mind, the things that God is doing through that. And I'm so hesitant to call it a ministry, even though I know it's a ministry. But
Why?
because I think, you know why? Thank you. I think I'm gonna be honest, because this is what this platform is about. Being honest. I think I still struggle with people. And I feel like because I'm authentic, because I'm real, sometimes I'm saved and sometimes I'm a little ratchet. I feel like putting ministry on it makes me have to reserve who I am. And I'm getting to that point where it's like,
right. It's not though. Like, honestly, putting ministry on it is just saying, I'm giving you Jesus. Like, when you see ministry, like, just know that I'm giving you Jesus, but Jesus is flowing through this vessel.
Yeah.
So you can choose. Like, if you want to talk to somebody that's not giving you ratchet, if you want to talk to somebody that's not giving you the real, that you may not get a bruh every now and then, you may, you know what I'm saying? Then there's plenty of people.
Might not be eloquent enough.
Right. You might get a little bit of what they call ebonics. You might get a little bit of ebonics. You might get some slang. You might get off. But if that's not for you, then it's not for you. But there's somebody who just as ratchet as me. Speaking ebonics like me. And through the same struggles like I did, went through the same struggles like you did, that want to hear what you have to say. And need the power that's brought by the truth of Christ in your ministry.
Okay.
So
I just gotta embrace the process.
I completely understand that. And I think that it's necessary because nobody cares about the single season. Like, nobody's teaching. Like, the single season is one of the most vital, important times of your life. And by the way, there's no way that you can teach like saving yourself for marriage and stuff like that and not call yourself a ministry. Come on now.
Yeah, you're right. I'm a unicorn. There already.
Yeah, no, you're a ministry. But Nobody's teaching that. So people need that. Like, people think that single season is just like, oh, I'm out here, let's get lit, I'm about to just live my best life, do what I want to do. It's like, no, figure out who you are, figure out what your purpose is, put stuff together. And it's like, then we want to be out here doing whatever, talking about I'm looking for a husband, but where? How?
Yeah.
How?
You got to be a wife first. Yeah.
Before you got to be a wife before you a wife.
Yeah. You have to, you literally, and it's so crazy because the world will tell you, you got to be a hoe. You got to have a hoe season. Get that out your system first so that you can, and I'm like, what? Like, what? That is asinine to me. Or you got to be, it blows my mind, the things that I hear, and I now see, why God has called me to this. So I guess I'll embrace singled out, see the ministry.
And as somebody who did not learn to be a wife before being a wife, be a wife before you a wife. Mm-hmm. I'm 12 years in, I'm still like, oh, this is what wives do. Oh, okay. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm 12 years in and still like, oh, I'm slick, a little selfish, huh? I do gotta help him, don't I? Like, why? Like, this is stuff that we supposed to be figuring out before we get this far.
Exactly. So I know that I think I know you have a ministry for families. That's one of the things that we kind of bridged a gap on. Or is it starting? Or am I talking too soon?
Okay. But let me fix this, because I know how y'all Christians be. I have there's a ministry brewing. I'm going to say that. I know that I was called to ministry. You were at Karis. I don't know if you heard my testimony, but when I was 17, God came to me in my car with my mother. Basically, I don't know if the voice was audible or it wasn't, but for the first time in my life, I knew without a shadow or a doubt that God was speaking to me, and it was clear as me and you are talking right now. Mm-hmm. And he said, I am calling you to ministry. And I said, I don't want no parts of it.
Thank you for being honest.
Yeah, being completely honest. I was like, I don't want to do, like, I literally, now this is happening in my mind. This is not out loud. I feel like I'm hearing him out loud, but I'm answering him inside my. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, bro, I don't want that. I don't want no parts of that. So I'm telling him that. I'm like, I want to do what I want to do. What did I want to do? I had no clue. That's the crazy part. I
just didn't want to do ministry.
I knew I didn't want to be in nobody's church. I knew I didn't want to be in nobody's pulpit. I knew I didn't want to be in nobody's ministry. That I knew that much. So then I spent literally close to 20 years trying to figure out what I was called to do, which is just pitiful. I literally spent like 20 years trying to figure out what I was called to do. Got $100,000 in student loan debt because I jumped from school to school to school to school. Got like trying to get several different type of degrees, jumping out of one school because I'm like, this ain't it. Jumping into it. I even went to school for fashion design. It's like, sis, you cannot dress. Like, it's literally the devil. Like, you can't dress. It was a demonic force that possessed you to enroll in school for fashion. I was doing everything, trying to figure out what I was called to do. And I finally surrendered it and was like, Lord, what is it? Like, I just stopped. And I believe this is the first time I've had like I guess you could call it an open vision. I don't know what you want to call it, but I was literally in the back seat of my mama car when I was 17. My mom was right there in the front. I was right there on the right. We was going down Highway 85 in Riverdale. Mm-hmm. I'm in the back seat and I hear God say, I've called you to ministry. And I hear my retarded self. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I had completely forgot that happened. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, snap, man. You did say that.
You did say that.
But that time I said yes. Okay. So basically from then till now, I've kind of just been going through this time of preparing me.
Yeah.
Cleaning me out, doing everything that he needs to do, me getting through my own process so that I have the anointing necessary to get other people through their own process.
Yeah.
And the ministry's brewing, but I'm still actively ministering. I currently have 2 people next week that I have important appointments with for deliverance and coaching. So I'm actively ministering. I'm traveling with a ministry called TSNL. I'm part of their ministry that I love. That is a deliverance ministry, and I'm really ministering. I'm always encouraging, and
Mhm.
it's in my blood.
Our
Like I
life
can't.
is a ministry.
Yeah, it's like I can't not do it. Like that's what. See, this is what I mean. You got to be called. You have to be called to listen to us. Because me saying I can't not do.
Nah,
Listen, it is what it is. Okay, let's stick to the little.
I got it.
Look, look.
I didn't even
I
flinch. So.
cannot. I cannot refrain myself
Mhm.
from ministry. I'm always encouraging. Like I always got a word. I always got a thing, something of it. Like I'm always ministering. It's literally who I am and what I do. There's no way around it, period. So, but yes, women, um, for now, you know how God do. You know how God is.
No, you know how God do.
You know how God do. 1 minute you'll be doing, you'll be in one arena, another minute he stretched you to something else. So as
Yeah,
of right now, I am called to women and I am called to restoring marriages. So that is where God has me, and I'm excited about doing it.
I love it. All right, so
Yeah.
this will be our last question. So what do and this is for both of us. What do we hope to accomplish with these intimate conversations?
You first.
Oh, okay. So, I think this is a space, and I think we talked about this. We just want this to be a safe space to have difficult conversations, to have the conversations that are not being spoken about, in church, to have the conversations that people feel like you can't go to God with. I go to God with everything.
Everything.
Everything. Like literally everything.
Hmm.
Um, and he's open to having conversations. So I think this is just to build that bridge for people to know that there is a God that they can talk to about anything. This is not, and I mean this with all respect, this is not a churchy type environment. So I think it'll be welcoming to all, and it's open to all who want to hear the truth. So I think this is just a safe space to have intimate conversations to bring change. I think our thing is to discuss, discover, and disciple. That is what we're here to do, is to discuss the things that nobody wants to discuss, to
Yeah.
discover the things that people want to put down and hide, and to develop disciples to say, you know what, it's okay that you feel this way. Let's take it to God. It's okay that you struggle with this. Let's take it to God. Or just being in a place where you don't feel alone. This is community. I think this is what this is boiling down to. It is a community of women pouring into each other and just a sisterhood. Gosh, I sound like Miss Letha.
I'm like, you're a minister. You have a ministry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a ministry. That's what's happening here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I would say I agree. One thing I do want to say is like this is not the end all to be all of
Mhm.
whatever our topic is. Or
Yeah.
like if somebody has a topic that they want to talk about, like the truth doesn't end and begin with us. Like there may be things that we don't know, but I feel like a part of what's happening here is just to spark the conversation. Like to get people talking about it, to get your mind spinning about it, to get you looking deeper, because I feel like a lot of times what happens in Christianity is that we hear that the pastor said,
Mhm.
or we hear that so and such said, and we don't do our own research. We don't go back to our personal relationship with God. So I feel like, if anything, I want to just spark a conversation that sparks individual thought outside of religion and outside of culture, and makes us want to just go to God and say, what does this really mean? Is this really okay?
Yeah.
I know that culture says this, but what do you say? I know that they're doing this, but are you really okay with that? That's kind of what I wanted to spark. And then, like you were saying, just a place of safety, a place where, I mean, honestly, a judgment-free zone where no one's condemning you for things you've done or what you're currently doing. Because if I open anybody's closet, skeletons is falling out, period. I don't care who you are. So it's just a safe place to be vulnerable and to talk openly about things that often go unaddressed
Yeah.
in what you would call religious circles. And like Christina said, this is not a religious circle. This is a circle where we're going to give you truth,
Yeah.
but not religion. And there's a difference between the two. And I'm going to get off my ministry soapbox before I tell you what the whole teaching that y'all didn't come here for. So,
Yeah.
but yes, that's what I'm excited about it. I'm excited about just speaking with other women, seeing what topics they want to discuss.
Yep.
Possibly diving into some super crazy stuff.
Oh yeah. This is gonna be dope. This is gonna be dope.
Have funny, transparent dialogue about who knows what.
Yeah.
And a very interesting part I feel like is going to be for people, which is really seeing that like God cares about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something he has to say literally about everything. So
yes,
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we just want to thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you share this. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It will be up momentarily. And then if you have topics that you want to discuss, please email them to theintimateconvo@gmail.com. You can follow us. I'm at Singled Out C on all handles. And then Julia is at It's Julia Wilson. So make sure you connect with us. And again, just share, because there is someone who needs to hear the truth.
Yes, and we want to talk to you, ladies. Let's build community. Hello.
Yes, we will absolutely be doing that. So as we start to upload these videos, you will get more information about what we are doing and how to connect with us on different levels. We are looking to just build community, and this is gonna be dope.
I'm so excited.
Yes. All right. Love you guys.
All right. Bye.